The massive alien ship appeared without warning. One moment Earth's skies were clear. The next, a vessel larger than Manhattan hung over the Pacific Ocean, its dark metal hull reflecting sunlight in strange patterns. Within hours, 6 more ships joined it in orbit. Dr. Olivia Clark stared at the satellite images on her computer screen. As the lead scientist at NASA's Deep Space Communication Program, she had spent her career searching for signs of alien life. Now they had arrived, and she felt unprepared. "Dr. Clark, the president is requesting you join the emergency meeting." Her assistant Sam stood in the doorway, face pale. Olivia nodded, gathering her tablet. "Any response to our transmissions?" "Nothing, yet. But their ships are positioning themselves over major cities." The Pentagon war room buzzed with anxious energy when Olivia arrived. Military officers huddled around displays showing the alien vessels. President Reynolds stood at the head of the table, speaking in hushed tones with the Secretary of Defense. "Dr. Clark, thank you for coming," the president said, gesturing to an empty chair. "We need your expertise now more than ever." Major Peter Wright, a square-jawed Air Force officer with a reputation for staying cool under pressure, slid a folder across the table to her. "These images were taken 10 minutes ago. They're deploying smaller craft." Olivia examined the photos of sleek shuttles descending toward Earth. "They're making contact," she said. "If they wanted to attack, they would have done so immediately." The room fell silent as screens around them suddenly activated on their own. A face appeared, humanoid but clearly alien, with blue-tinted skin and large, almond-shaped eyes. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Zextar of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace and friendship." 12 hours later, Olivia found herself boarding a military helicopter alongside Major Wright. They had been selected as part of the first diplomatic team to meet the aliens face-to-face. "Nervous?" Peter asked as the helicopter lifted off. Olivia clutched her tablet tighter. "I've prepared for this moment my whole career. But yes, terrified." Peter smiled. "Same, though my training involved more what if they're hostile scenarios." The helicopter landed in a cleared area of Central Park in New York. The alien shuttle rested on the Great Lawn, steam rising where its landing gear touched the morning dew. A small group of world leaders and diplomats already waited nearby. Zextar emerged from the shuttle flanked by 4 other aliens of varying appearances. The ambassador stood nearly 7 feet tall, moving with unusual grace that made him appear almost weightless. "Welcome," said the UN Secretary General, stepping forward. "On behalf of humanity, we are honored by your presence." Zextar inclined, his head. "The honor is ours. Your civilization has achieved much in its short existence. Nuclear fission, primitive space travel. Impressive for a species so young." Olivia noticed the condescending tone immediately. "Primitive space travel?" She exchanged glances with Peter, who had also caught it. The initial meeting lasted 3 hours. The aliens explained they represented a coalition of over 300 spacefaring species that governed most of the Milky Way galaxy. They offered Earth membership in this galactic confederation, but as a protectorate, not an equal member. "Your technological development places you at approximately level 2 on our scale," Zextar explained during the follow-up meeting at the United Nations. "Full membership requires level 4, including viable interstellar travel capabilities." "And how long would it take us to reach level 4? asked the Chinese representative. "Based on your current development trajectory, approximately 300 Earth years," another alien replied. "Though with our guidance, perhaps as little as 200. Olivia bit her tongue. These aliens, for all their advanced technology, were making assumptions. Big ones. After the formal meetings concluded, Olivia and Peter were assigned to the scientific exchange team. They toured the alien shuttle, asking questions that the aliens answered with practiced patience, as if explaining concepts to children. "Your propulsion systems?" Olivia asked, studying the engine room. "You use antimatter containment?" "Indeed," replied the alien engineer named Kolb. "Most level 2 civilizations are still working with chemical rockets. You're quite advanced to even understand the concept of antimatter propulsion." Peter stepped closer. And this is how all Confederation ships travel between stars? It is the most efficient method discovered in the galaxy, Kolb said proudly. Our fastest vessels can reach half the speed of light. That evening, Olivia and Peter sat in a secure conference room at the Pentagon. President Reynolds looked exhausted as various officials debated how to respond to the aliens' offer of protectorate status. They're colonizing us with a smile, General Martinez said. These assistance outposts they want to build, those are military installations. We don't know that, argued the Secretary of State. This could be genuine goodwill. The president turned to Olivia. Dr. Clark, your assessment? Olivia chose her words carefully. They're not telling us everything. Their technology is impressive, but not magical, and they seem absolutely certain about our capabilities, or lack thereof. Because they've been watching us, someone suggested. Or because they've seen this pattern before, Peter added. They expect us to develop like other species they've encountered. President Reynolds nodded slowly. Dr. Clark, Major Wright, you're both cleared for Starburst. After this meeting, report to Admiral Casey. Olivia's heart raced. Project Starburst was beyond classified. Even she only knew rumors. 3 hours later, a military transport flew them to a remote island in the Pacific. From there, they boarded a submarine that descended to crushing depths before docking with an underwater facility hidden beneath the ocean floor. Admiral Casey met them at the airlock. Welcome to the trench, he said, leading them through gleaming corridors. For 30 years, the world's greatest minds have worked here in complete secrecy, funded by a coalition of nations. He stopped at a massive viewing window. Beyond it stretched an underwater construction bay larger than an aircraft carrier. In the center floated a sleek vessel unlike any spacecraft Olivia had ever seen. The ESS Defiant, Admiral Casey said, with pride. Earth's first faster-than-light capable starship. Impossible, Olivia whispered, though the evidence floated before her eyes. While the world focused on traditional space programs, we explored different physics, not antimatter containment, but quantum fold technology. Peter stepped closer to the glass. And the aliens don't know? No. This facility exists under a quantum field that masks all energy signatures. As far as they can detect, this part of the ocean floor simply doesn't exist. How close is it to being operational? Olivia asked. 6 months of testing remained on our schedule, Admiral Casey said grimly. But with the Confederation watching us now, the President wants it ready in 6 weeks. Can that be done? Peter asked. The Admiral's face hardened. It has to be, because you two are going to be on it when it launches. Olivia stared at the starship, its hull gleaming under the lights. The aliens thought Earth was centuries away from interstellar travel. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The underwater facility buzzed with activity. Where once scientists and engineers had worked at a careful pace, they now rushed through corridors with urgent purpose. 6 weeks to prepare a starship that needed 6 months of testing. Everyone felt the pressure. Dr. Alan Reeves ran his hand through his gray hair, studying the diagnostics on his tablet. As chief scientist of Project Starburst, he had spent 15 years developing the quantum fold drive. Now politics demanded he rush the most important scientific breakthrough in human history. Those numbers don't look good, said a voice behind him. Alan turned to see Lisa Nguyen, the naval captain chosen to command the ESS Defiant. She was shorter than most of her crew but carried herself with unmistakable authority. The power fluctuations are within acceptable parameters, Alan replied, though his frown suggested otherwise. Acceptable for testing, maybe. Not for an actual jump. Lisa looked through the reinforced glass window at the massive engine that took up the rear third of the Defiant. Will it work, Doctor? Really work? Alan hesitated. In theory, yes. The quantum fold creates a bubble that slips between normal space. Distance becomes meaningless. But you've never tested it at full power. We couldn't risk the energy signature being detected, and now we may never get the chance for proper testing. Chief Engineer Doug Miller joined them, wiping grease from his hands with a rag. His weathered face showed the strain of working 20-hour days. "The good news is the secondary systems are fully operational," Doug said. "Life support, shields, navigation. The bad news is our flight simulations show a 22% chance of drive failure if we attempt to fold now." "And failure means?" Lisa asked, though she already knew. "Best case? We're stranded in normal space. Worst case? The ship tears itself apart." Lisa nodded slowly. "Not great odds, but better than I expected. Keep working." Above them, on the surface world, the alien presence grew. Zorian ships established positions over major cities. Their diplomats met with world leaders. Their scientists requested access to Earth's research facilities. Everything seemed cordial, but with each passing day, the aliens pushed further into Earth's affairs. President Catherine Summers sat in the Oval Office reviewing reports from around the world. The aliens had set up their first assistance outpost outside Beijing. Another was under construction near Moscow. The Europeans had agreed to host 3 such facilities. A knock at the door interrupted her reading. General Frank Ortiz entered, carrying a secure tablet. "Madam President, we have a situation. The Zorians have requested access to our research stations in Antarctica." The president's face remained neutral, but her knuckles whitened as she gripped her pen. Antarctica housed the production facilities for key components of the quantum fold drive. What reason did they give? They claim their sensors detected unusual mineral deposits that could be valuable for technological exchange. But our intelligence suggests they've picked up trace energy signatures from our manufacturing process. How long can we stall them? A week, maybe less. And there's more. General Ortiz handed her the tablet. "Their ships have begun systematic oceanic surveys. They'll find the trench soon." The president studied the map showing the Zorian search pattern. They were methodically working their way toward the secret facility. "Move up the timeline," she said. "The Defiant needs to launch in 3 days." Back in the trench, Olivia Clark and Peter Wright underwent intensive training. Though neither had been selected as crew for the Defiant's original mission plan, both possessed skills now deemed essential. Olivia's expertise in alien communication and Peter's military background made them valuable additions. "The acceleration will crush you back into your seats," the flight instructor explained as they practiced. "In the simulator, 5 Gs for approximately 90 seconds until we clear Earth's atmosphere. Then the real fun begins." Peter handled the physical training well, but Olivia struggled. She had spent her career in laboratories and offices, not preparing for space flight. "You're thinking too much," Peter told her during a break. "Your body knows what to do, trust it." "Easy for you to say," Olivia gasped, still catching her breath. "You do this for fun." Peter smiled. "No one's fully prepared for what we're attempting. We're about to make the first faster-than-light jump in human history, in an untested ship, while being chased by aliens who think we're primitive cave people. It's okay to be scared." "I'm not scared," Olivia said. "I'm terrified." On the other side of the facility, Captain Nguyen met with Admiral Casey and the mission planners. The latest intelligence wasn't good. The Zorians have deployed underwater. "Scanning drones," Admiral Casey explained, pointing to a map. "At their current search pattern, they'll detect us in approximately 36 hours. "And the ship?" Lisa asked. "Not ready. Miller reports the drive needs at least 48 more hours to reach minimum safety parameters." Lisa studied the owl. "What if we create a distraction? Something to draw their attention elsewhere?" "Already planned. We're staging an underwater earthquake research project on the other side of the Pacific. But it won't fool them for long." Lisa made her decision. "Begin preparations for launch. The Defiant leaves in 24 hours, ready or not." The next day passed in a blur of activity. Crew members said hushed goodbyes to colleagues. Engineers made final adjustments to systems. Security teams prepared to defend the facility if discovered before launch. 6 hours before the scheduled departure, alarms blared throughout the trench. "Zorian vessel approaching," announced the facility AI. "Current trajectory will bring it directly overhead in 15 minutes. In the command center, Admiral Casey cursed. "They're ahead of schedule. Captain Nguyen, Your crew? Boarding now, Lisa replied. We're at 82% readiness. It will have to do. Launch as soon as possible. The crew of 30 rushed to their stations aboard the Defiant. Olivia and Peter strapped into seats in the science section. Through the ship's external cameras, they watched as the massive underwater bay doors began to open. Doug Miller's voice came over the intercom from engineering. Drive system is online but unstable. We have power fluctuations throughout the grid. Can we make a fold? Captain Nguyen asked from the bridge. Maybe one. After that, all bets are off. Lisa turned to her navigation officer. Plot a course for the Alpha Centauri system. That's our best chance for a clear jump. Captain, the communications officer interrupted. The Zorian ship has stopped directly above us. They're deploying something into the water. On the external cameras, they watched a torpedo-shaped probe descend toward their location. Dr. Alan Reeves appeared on the bridge, face pale. Captain, that device will detect us through the quantum mask. We have minutes at most. Lisa nodded grimly. All hands prepare for emergency ascent. We launch now. The Defiant's engines hummed to life. The sleek black vessel rose from its cradle, hovering in the massive underwater chamber. May God help us all. Admiral Casey's voice came through the comm system. Good luck, Defiant. Show them what humanity can do. The ship surged upward, rocketing toward the surface of the Pacific Ocean, leaving behind the safety of the trench and heading toward a confrontation that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The ESS Defiant burst through the ocean's surface in an explosion of water and foam. Sunlight gleamed off its black hull as engines roared, pushing the ship upward with tremendous force. Inside, the crew was pressed into their seats by the sudden acceleration. 5 Gs and climbing, announced the flight officer, her voice strained. Atmospheric exit in 70 seconds. Captain Lisa Nguyen gripped her chair arms. The ship wasn't ready. The crew wasn't ready, but they had no choice. Status of the Zorian vessel? She asked. It's changing course to follow us, replied the sensor officer. They're launching smaller craft. On the main screen, they watched as sleek alien ships deployed from the larger vessel. They moved with impossible grace, cutting through the air faster than any Earth aircraft. They're hailing us, said the communications officer. Ignore it, Lisa ordered, all power to engines. The Defiant climbed higher, pushing through the upper atmosphere. The blue sky darkened to black as stars became visible. 30 seconds more, and they would reach space. In the science section, Olivia Clark and Peter Wright watched the sensor readings with growing alarm. 3 Zorian interceptors closing fast, Peter said. They'll reach us before we clear the atmosphere. Olivia studied. A different display. The quantum fold drive is charging, but it's slow. We need at least 5 minutes before we can jump. Peter unbuckled his harness. We don't have 5 minutes. I'm going to help engineering. He pushed himself through the low gravity toward the engine section where Doug Miller and his team worked frantically. We need more power to the drive, Peter said as he entered. Doug looked up from the main console, his face damp with sweat. We're giving it everything we've got. The system wasn't designed for this kind of rapid charge. The Zorians will catch us before it's ready. Then we'll have to get creative. Doug pointed to a junction box. Help me reroute power from life. Support. We can survive on emergency systems long enough to make the jump. On the bridge, the situation worsened. The ship shuddered as it finally broke free of Earth's atmosphere, but the alien vessels were closing fast. They're locking weapons, reported the tactical officer. Evasive maneuvers, Lisa ordered. Use the moon's gravitational field for a slingshot. Effect. The Defiant changed course, banking toward Earth's moon. The engines strained as the ship accelerated. Captain, we're receiving a message from Ambassador Zextar himself, said the communications officer. Lisa hesitated, then nodded. Put it through. The alien's face appeared on the screen. His usual calm demeanor was replaced with obvious anger. Earth vessel, power down immediately. You possess technology forbidden to your development level. This is a serious violation of Confederation law. Lisa straightened in her chair. Ambassador, we are a sovereign planet. We never agreed to your laws or classifications. Your primitive species cannot comprehend the dangers of... Lisa cut the transmission. How long until... The full drive is ready? 3 minutes at current charge rate, came the reply from engineering. We don't have 3 minutes, the tactical officer warned. Zorian ships will intercept in 90 seconds. In the White House Situation Room, President Summers and her advisors watched the satellite feed of the chase. They had no way to help. The Defiant now. Everything depended on that single ship and its crew. The Zorian ambassador is demanding an explanation, reported the Secretary of State. Their ships in orbit are powering weapons. The president's expression remained composed, but her eyes revealed her concern. Tell them there's been a misunderstanding. The ship is an experimental prototype that launched without authorization. They won't believe that. They don't need to believe it. They just need to doubt enough to delay any action until the Defiant can jump. Back in space, the Defiant raced around the moon, using its gravity to gain speed. The ship vibrated as it pushed, beyond its tested limits. Structural integrity at 82%, reported the engineering officer. Hull temperature rising. Maintain course, Lisa ordered. Status of the fold drive? 2 minutes to minimum safe charge, Doug Miller replied over the comm. The Zorians are closing to weapons range, the tactical officer warned. 30 seconds. Lisa made a quick decision. Dump the emergency fuel reserves into the main engines, give us everything. Captain, that's our backup supply for after the jump, the flight officer protested. We won't need a backup if we don't make the jump. Do it. The Defiant surged forward. As the additional fuel ignited, the sudden acceleration pushed the crew back into their seats once more. In engineering, alarms blared as systems overloaded. Peter helped Doug stabilize the power flow to the quantum fold drive. We're redlining every system, Doug shouted over the noise. This ship wasn't built for this kind of stress. Can we jump? Peter asked. Doug checked the readings. The drive is at 68% charge. Minimum safe is 75%. But will it work at 68%? Doug hesitated. Maybe. Once. But the margin for error. A violent impact rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed across every console. We've been hit, announced the tactical officer on the bridge. Minor damage to the rear section. Shields holding at 60%. They're firing again, the sensor officer warned. All hands brace for impact, Lisa ordered. The second hit was stronger than the first. The lights flickered as power fluctuated throughout the ship. Shields at 32%, came the report. One more hit and they're down. Olivia rushed into engineering. We need to jump now. The next hit will disable us. Doug looked at his console, his face grim. Drive charge at 72%, it's not enough. It has to be, Peter insisted. Another impact. The ship lurched violently. A conduit burst overhead, showering sparks across the room. Shields are down, the tactical officer reported. They're moving to disable our engines. Doug made his choice. Initiating quantum fold jump, everyone hold on to something. He pressed his hand against the scanner. The computer asked for confirmation. This is Chief Engineer Douglas Miller. Authorization. Code Starburst Omega. Execute fold jump now. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a deep hum built throughout the ship. Outside, space itself seemed to bend around the Defiant. A bubble of blue-white energy formed, enveloping the vessel. Ambassador Zextar watched from his command ship as the primitive Earth vessel began to glow. What he was seeing should have been impossible for humans to achieve for centuries. Disable that ship immediately, he commanded, but it was too late. The ESS Defiant compressed to a point of brilliant light, then vanished completely. The quantum fold jump had worked. Humanity had just taken its first step into the greater galaxy, leaving behind very surprised aliens who had severely underestimated them. In the emptiness where the ship had been, Ambassador Zextar stared in disbelief. Impossible, he whispered. They shouldn't have that technology for centuries. His aide approached cautiously. Should we inform the Confederation Council? Zextar nodded slowly, still stunned. Yes, and increase surveillance on Earth immediately. We've made a grave error in our assessment of these humans. Blue light filled every window of the ESS Defiant. The ship shuddered as reality itself seemed to bend around it. Inside, the crew held on as strange forces pulled at their bodies. It felt like being stretched in all directions at once. Then, suddenly, everything stopped. The blue light vanished. The stars returned. "Jump complete," announced Doug Miller, his voice filled with disbelief. "We did it." On the bridge, Captain Lisa Nguyen took a deep breath. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice remained steady.
Damage report. Hull integrity at 79%. Life support stable. Engines functional but overheated, reported the systems officer.
"The quantum fold drive is offline. Can we jump again?" Lisa asked. Doug's voice came through the comm system. "Not for at least 12 hours. The drive needs time to cool and recharge, assuming it still works at all after that rough jump." "Where are we?" Lisa asked the navigation officer. The young woman studied her screens with confusion. "According to our calculations, we should be near Alpha Centauri, but these star patterns don't match." Olivia Clark entered the bridge, moving carefully, in the reduced gravity. "The navigation was off. We didn't have time to properly calibrate before the jump." "So where did we end up?" Lisa asked. "I need more data, but based on preliminary readings." Olivia hesitated. "I believe we're in the Proxima Centauri system, about 4.2 light-years from Earth." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. They had traveled over 4 light-years in seconds. "How long would this journey take a Confederation ship?" Lisa asked. Olivia did a quick calculation. "Using their antimatter drives at half light speed? About 8 years. Peter Wright joined them on the bridge. And we did it in less than 20 seconds. Even with a damaged, rushed ship," the navigation officer interrupted. "Captain, I'm detecting something in orbit around the second planet. It's artificial." "Zorian?" Lisa asked tensely. "No, the structure doesn't match any known Confederation designs. It's bigger, much bigger." Lisa straightened in her chair. "Take us closer, but maintain distance. All sensors at maximum." As the Defiant approached, they could see the object more clearly on their screens. It was a massive ring-shaped structure orbiting the small rocky planet. Parts of it gleamed in the dim light of Proxima Centauri, while other sections appeared dark and dormant. "It must be at least 50 kilometers in diameter," Olivia said, staring at the readings. "And it's old. Very old." "How old?" Lisa asked. "Based on radiation decay patterns, at least 50,000 years. Maybe older." "Is it operational?" "Partially. I'm detecting minimal power signatures." Lisa considered their options. "Prepare a small team for exploration. Dr. Clark, Major Wright, you'll join me. We need to know what this is before we return to Earth." 4 hours later, a shuttle from the Defiant approached the ancient structure. Lisa piloted while Olivia and Peter studied the sensor readings. 2 other crew members, a security officer and an engineer, sat behind them. "No reaction to our approach," Peter noted. "If there are automated defenses, they're not activating." "I'm detecting an opening," Lisa said, pointing to a section of the massive ring. "It looks like a docking bay." They guided the shuttle into the dark opening, which expanded into an enormous hangar. Their lights revealed other ships. Strange vessels covered in dust, clearly abandoned long ago. After confirming the atmosphere was breathable, they exited the shuttle in their protective suits. Each step kicked up dust that had been undisturbed for millennia. "This architecture doesn't match anything in the Confederation database," Olivia said, examining marks on the walls. "These symbols, I've never seen anything like them." They moved deeper into the station, following faint power signatures. The corridors were tall and wide, suggesting the builders had been larger than humans. "Look at this," Peter called, shining his light on what appeared to be a control panel. "The design, it's almost intuitive." Olivia examined it. "It's responding to our presence. The systems are waking up." As if hearing her words, lights began to flicker on around them. A gentle hum filled the air as ancient machinery slowly came back to life. They entered what seemed to be a central command center. A holographic display activated as they approached, showing a star map of the galaxy. "It's some kind of database," Olivia said, her voice filled with excitement. "An archive left by whoever built this place." "Can you access it?" Lisa asked. Olivia studied the controls. The interface is surprisingly accessible, almost as if it was designed for beings like us. She pressed her hand against a panel. The star map zoomed in, focusing on a section of the galaxy. Specific stars lit up, connected by lines that seemed to indicate travel routes. "This is incredible," Olivia whispered. According to this, the builders of the station visited hundreds of worlds across the galaxy, including Earth. "What?" Lisa moved closer. "Are you sure?" Olivia pointed to a familiar star system. "That's Sol, our sun, and this data shows they visited Earth approximately 70,000 years ago." Peter examined another console that had activated. "There's more. Technical schematics, propulsion systems far beyond even what we've developed, and biological data." "What kind of biological data?" Lisa asked. Peter's expression showed his shock. "DNA sequences, comparing what appear to be the station builder's genetic code with human DNA." "Are you saying these aliens were related to us?" Lisa asked. "Not exactly," Olivia replied, studying the data. "But there are similarities that can't be coincidental. It's almost as if they did something to us." Peter finished. "Some kind of genetic modification during their visit to Earth." Lisa looked around at the ancient command center. "The Confederation calls humans a young species. But what if we're not? What if we're connected to something much older?" "The Xorians were wrong about us," Olivia said. "We didn't develop faster than expected, we remembered. On some level, our scientists were rediscovering technology that's encoded in our history, maybe even in our DNA." A new hologram appeared showing a humanoid figure much taller than a human with elongated limbs and a larger cranium. The image spoke in a strange language, musical and complex. "It's some kind of message," Olivia said, "left for whoever found this place." "Can you understand it?" Lisa asked. "No, but I can try to decode it with our computers." Olivia began downloading the data to their equipment. Whatever these beings were, they left this for someone to find. Maybe they left it for us. As they gathered what information they could, the security officer called from across the room. "Captain, you need to see this." They joined him at a viewport looking out into space. From this angle, they could see Earth's sun, a tiny, distant point of light. Why would they build this station with a direct view of our solar system? Peter wondered. "Maybe they were watching us," Lisa suggested, "waiting for us to develop." Olivia looked at the star map again, at the connection lines between Earth and this station. Or maybe they were leaving breadcrumbs, a path for us to follow, when we were ready. Lisa made her decision. "Download everything you can. We're taking this information back to Earth. The Confederation thinks they know who we are and what we're capable of. It's time to show them how wrong they've been." The ESS Defiant hung in space above Earth, its hull now bearing strange markings copied from the ancient station. The ship had returned 3 weeks after its sudden departure. 3 weeks in which Earth and the Galactic Confederation had been thrown into chaos. "Multiple Confederation vessels approaching," reported the sensor officer. "They're hailing us." Captain Lee Nguyen nodded. "Put them through." Ambassador Zextar's face appeared on the main screen. The alien's usual composure was gone, replaced by barely concealed anger mixed with fear. "Earth vessel, you will power down and prepare to be boarded. Your unauthorized possession of advanced technology violates multiple Confederation laws." Lisa smiled calmly. "Ambassador will be happy to meet with the Confederation. In fact, we request an emergency session of the Confederation Council. We have important information to share." "You are not in a position to make requests," Zexatar said coldly. "Actually, we are." Lisa nodded to Olivia, who sat at the science station. Olivia pressed a sequence on her console. Outside the ship, Space rippled as the improved quantum fold drive activated, but instead of jumping, the Defiant remained in place, surrounded by a shimmering field of energy. What you're seeing is a controlled quantum fold bubble, Lisa explained to the stunned ambassador. A modification we developed, based on technology we discovered. Your weapons cannot penetrate it. On Earth, in the White House Situation Room, President Catherine Summers watched the confrontation via satellite link. Around her sat world leaders who had gathered for this historic moment. The modifications to the Defiant worked, said Admiral Casey with pride. The ship is protected, the president nodded. And the other ships? Ready to launch on your command. In orbit, the standoff continued. More Confederation ships arrived surrounding the Defiant, but none fired. They were clearly unsure how to respond to this unexpected development. Ambassador, Lisa continued, in the 3 weeks since our jump, we've learned much about ourselves and the galaxy. We've also built 3 more ships with the same technology. They're launching now. On cue, 3 vessels rose from different locations on Earth. Each bore the same strange markings as the Defiant. They moved with impossible grace, sliding into formation around the first ship. Impossible, Zextar whispered. Your species couldn't have built these so quickly. We had help, Lisa replied, from those who came before, the ones you call the predecessors. The bridge fell silent. That name clearly meant something to the ambassador. A myth, Zextar said, but his voice lacked conviction. Stories told to young ones. No, Ambassador, they were real. And they visited Earth long ago. We found their outpost at Proxima Centauri. The news spread quickly through the Confederation fleet. Soon, the Defiant received another hail. This time, it was from a different alien species, the Aldari, one of the oldest members of the Confederation. Human vessel, this is High Elder Troon of the Aldari Collective. Is it true? You found evidence of the predecessors? We did, Lisa confirmed. And we have proof that they interacted with humans thousands of years ago. It seems our species was special to them. Within hours, the Defiant and Earth's other ships were escorted not to a detention facility, but to the massive Confederation Central Station. Diplomatic vessels from dozens of species rushed to meet them. The discovered connection to the predecessors had changed everything. The emergency council meeting was the largest in Confederation history. Representatives from all 300 member species attended, either in person or via hologram. Captain Nguyen, Dr. Clark, and Major Wright stood before them, representing Earth. For millennia, we have wondered about the predecessors, said the Aldari High Elder. The species that created technologies we still cannot fully understand. The ones who vanished without explanation. And now, you claim to have found not only their outpost, but a connection to your own species? Olivia stepped forward. We have. The data we recovered suggests the predecessors visited Earth approximately 70,000 years ago. They found early humans and saw potential. She activated a holographic display showing the DNA comparisons and brain scans. They modified our ancestors subtly. Not enough to change who we were, but enough to plant seeds that would grow over time. What kind of seeds? Asked another council member. Intuitive understanding of certain scientific principles, Peter explained, particularly those related to quantum physics. That's why our development seemed so unusual. In areas the predecessors valued, we leaped forward. In others, we progressed normally. Ambassador Zextar spoke up. This cannot be verified. And even if true, it does not change the fact that humans violated Confederation law by developing forbidden technology. President Summers, who had joined the meeting via secure hologram, raised her hand. With respect, Ambassador, we never agreed to your laws. Earth was offered protectorate status, not membership. We never signed your treaties. Furthermore, Lisa added, the technology wasn't developed in the traditional sense. It was remembered. The quantum fold principles were embedded in our collective scientific intuition, waiting to be rediscovered. The council chamber filled with murmurs and discussions in dozens of languages. Finally, the Aldari High Elder spoke again. For generations, We have waited for signs of the predecessor's return. Perhaps they never intended to return at all. Perhaps you, humans, are their legacy. Over the next several days, agreements were negotiated. Earth would not be punished for its technological leap. Instead, a new arrangement was proposed: full membership in the Confederation, with humans recognized as potential inheritors of the predecessor legacy. In return, Earth would share its quantum fold technology, but in a controlled manner. Human scientists would work with Confederation experts to ensure safe implementation. The condescending attitude was gone, replaced by cautious respect. 1 month after the Defiant's return, President Summers addressed the United Nations. Representatives from 20 Confederation species attended as observers. "Today marks a new chapter for humanity," she said. "We have taken our place among the stars not as children to be guided, but as equals bringing valuable gifts to the galactic community." She gestured to Captain Nguyen, Dr. Clark, Major Wright, Chief Engineer Miller, and Dr. Reeves, who stood nearby as honored heroes. These brave individuals, and the many others who worked in secret for decades, have changed our destiny. The Confederation thought Earth was primitive. They looked at our cities, our technology, our conflicts, and saw a young, undeveloped species needing guidance. The President smiled. What they failed to see was our potential, our creativity, our ability to make intuitive leaps that other species find baffling. They didn't understand that sometimes being outside the established way of thinking allows for innovation they couldn't imagine. Ambassador Zextar, watching from the back of the chamber, made notes on his tablet. His report to the Zorian High Command would be difficult to write. How to explain that they had so completely misjudged these humans? The stars are no longer distant dreams, President Summers concluded. They are destinations, and humanity is ready to explore them, not as newcomers, but as returning children of an ancient legacy. The applause was thunderous. Earth had changed forever, and the galaxy would never be the same.